What's good? Another day, another video. Now, this one's just going to be talking about the whole 9 to 5 and the whole office life and the whole, just the whole thing of like the older generations working in the offices all day actually made a lot more sense than nowadays. And I think it's crazy because social media has changed the whole game. Like before, back a day, you really think about it, that 9 to 5 job, you did Monday to Friday. You had a wife, you had kids, you had food on the table. It could pay for your car, it could pay for your cinemas, it could pay for your dates, it could pay for quite a lot. If you look at like the standard 1950, 1960 household, one wage was able to cope for the house, and you owned your own house. You was able to take your girl on dates, you was able to get married, have children, and actually have a life with that. But nowadays the whole 9 to 5, it's not making any sense anymore. And I think a lot of the new generation are kind of waking up to the fact that the whole 9 to 5 thing isn't actually making any sense because the population is getting bigger, but the wages are staying the same. So like your wage cost of how much it actually costs you to live a normal life and pay rent and pay bills and pay for heating and pay for electricity and pay for Wi-Fi and all these new things that like a family back in the day, you think about like the 1960s, 1970s, they didn't have a flat screen TV. They didn't have the amount of heaters and Wi-Fi and phones and the technology that we have now. So the cost of that household was cheaper, but the wages now are still the same price, which like doesn't actually make any sense. When you really think about that, the fact that cost of everything from food to clothes to fashion to electronics to just holidays, flights, everything is going up in price, but the wages are still staying the same price. And it's like, how does that make any sense? Like when you really think about it, the fact that the wages are going up but the price of everything, it's just mad. It's just mad when you really think about like how much you're getting paid versus how much you're really saving. And it's one of those things that like I really looked at and I really thought that like the whole social media thing and people making money on their phones, or people literally becoming streamers now, people going on Twitch and making like thousands of dollars in their room, is something that like someone like 10 years ago, 20 years ago, you told someone, oh, you're going to be able to sit in your room and play games and make money from that, people would just look at you like you're crazy. But I think it's kind of crazy like how the whole thing of even AI now changing up the game and people being able to invest in like stocks or companies or get AI slop channels, those channels on like YouTube that you just see posting these like weird AI videos of like cats or I don't know, babies, or they got weird AI videos and stuff, and those people are literally pumping out like what, 50 videos a day of just AI crap, and they're making money from that. Someone's getting paid to do that, you know what I mean? And the whole thing of you can make a meme page on Instagram and get paid from that. So I think that like people are waking up to the fact that there are newer ways to make money. The old go to the office and sit at the desk for like 10 hours isn't really sustainable anymore. And I feel like especially with the whole AI and artificial intelligence and robotics, those jobs are going to be getting replaced. Like a lot of those jobs are being automated. Like a lot of emails now are automated. When you ever sign into something and they say we're going to send a verification code to your email, that's an automated email. And things like that, like spam emails, all these things are generated by computers. Like they're already saying that 60% of the internet is already bots, and that number is growing. So all these office jobs of oh, we're going to look at it next week, or oh, if you could check your calendar of when you're free, or oh, we're going to circle back to that specific day, and it's just a bunch of nonsense when the AIs are going to be able to do it quicker, faster, more efficient, don't need coffee breaks, don't need smoke breaks, don't need to go see their kids. And this is what I said in my last video about the whole artificial intelligence thing, is I think that this whole 9 to 5, it's just really not working anymore. And I feel like a lot of people are waking up to the fact of, how do I make more money? How am I able to actually enjoy your life? And I think even when it comes to the whole social media, like people are seeing countries that they've never seen before, never heard before. And when you're seeing your friends travel there and you're seeing relatives go there and you're seeing more people expose new food, new culture, new types of drinks, new experiences, it makes you want to do that. And I feel like even for me, I made money when I was 14 and was able to go to Australia by myself. And you can actually watch, I think it's the first video on my channel, me going to Australia, and it's just me on the plane. But that's what I'm saying, that by going to other countries and seeing how other people be living, you then realize that the system of the 9 to 5, go to college, and that. Like, it's great if you want to be a doctor or you want to be a lawyer. I'm not saying it's not, but if you're going to like university to study something like music, you can literally just upload songs on YouTube and become popular. And I think that people are stop realizing that a lot of these things were a waste of time. A lot of these office jobs, printing jobs, especially printing jobs, or companies that still use like fax machines, and companies that haven't actually updated any of their systems. And like, even for me, like some of the jobs I've done, I've worked in offices and I've seen that they're still using like Windows Vista, or they're still using Windows 7. Like, who's even using these softwares? And I think that people are not understanding that old mindset. And I think it's whoever the bosses are at these companies either are too lazy to be updating it, or are just waiting for AI to get so advanced that they can just replace all their staff at one go. And even with the whole COVID and people working from remotely and all these things, they're just adding up to a future where there's going to be people who are going to be at the top, and then there's going to be people who have no jobs, and it's really turning into that. So I think this whole 9 to 5 and the whole system, it's just very corporate, and it's very sort of capitalist, where it is becoming a society of you got all these people in these buildings, but a lot of them aren't actually really doing any work because they're scared to do work because their boss will just give them more work. So then it becomes like a perpetual cycle of, if I do my work, my boss will give me more work. But if I do my work too slowly, like, oh, let's just do a Zoom meeting. Let's do a Zoom meeting. Let's do another meeting. Let's do another, we'll circle back. Let's do another, we'll check over it next week. Or, oh, we haven't spoken to the IT guy to confirm this. And it just becomes a bunch of back and forth emails when you could have literally just had the robot to get the job done. And I just feel like that's the thing, is that you really look at it, and I think everyone's starting to wake up. I think people are starting to realize that instead of doing that, they can literally just drop shipping, buying things from Alibaba or DHgate or any of these online Chinese made in China websites, and then just reselling the same items. Like, you can buy the items from there, resell them on Amazon or eBay, and literally just get markup money from doing things like that. And that is simple click and deliver. And I think people are understanding that this whole, even the Amazon FBA, where they can store it at their warehouse, so you don't even need to store it in your own house. You don't even see the product. You literally buy the product, store it in a warehouse, and then resell it on other websites for more money. And people are realizing that being an influencer on TikTok, promoting products for brands, is making them more money, and they're doing it from the comfort of their home, compared to the old model of drive 2-3 hours to work, to then sit in the office, to then drive home, to then do the same repeat every day, Monday to Friday, with a bunch of co-workers that you don't like, or they don't like you, and speaking to HR, and it's just a bunch of nonsense. And I just feel like the whole new system of make money from your house, the whole new system of online, has really changed the game. And I think it's also exposed people to levels of wealth that they would have never been able to see before. Like, you really think like someone from like 1990s, 1980s was seeing levels of wealth of regular people? Yes, they were seeing celebrities. There's always been celebrities on TV, even black and white. But seeing a celebrity who's a movie star compared to seeing your average neighbor be able to go on a holiday 3-4 times a year is completely different, and completely changed the game. And I feel like people who have skills, like, let's say example, you're good at doing hair, you're good at like braiding hair, plaiting hair, doing cornrows, these kinds of things. That's a skill where I don't think maybe the robots are going to be able to do these. So these kinds of skills, being able to be a plumber and like, fix some pipes under your toilet, these are the skills that are going to be really, really in high demand in the future. And I've really seen a lot of people speaking about this of, hold on a minute, instead of doing the corporate, if we get a product and we sell it for money, and it's any product, literally anything. Like, I even have a friend who's making his own alcohol brand. Shout out Keelan, shout out my boy, he's making his own alcohol brand right now. But yeah, like, even on that, he's making his own rum, and it's like, he's going to distilleries and he's getting the information, and people aren't understanding that there are so many more ways to actually make your own money. And it's crazy, from rapping to singing to making your own custom jewelry pieces. There's websites you can make your own custom jewelry and resell it to like rappers and stuff on music videos, and people are making more money doing that. People making more money on their iPhone recording in 4K and literally just making music videos with their mates than doing the whole 9 to 5. And I just think that it's insane. But everyone has a skill, and you just have to find your skill and try it. And if you find your skill and you enjoy it, you can make money, and you can actually make a lot more and actually be happy with your job. Because it's not just about making millions and millions of pounds. It's about being happy and being satisfied with your life, because we have one life. We have one life, we have one chance. But I hope you enjoyed the video.